is your team. Jeff and Jeremy in the morning. 93.3 KZOZ FM San Luis Obispo. Rocks.
.606. So, I'm really curious after the discussion we had yesterday about you and your wife, this decision you have to make if you're going to take your 9-month-old to see the Garth Brooks show, the first show, the 7:30 show, tomorrow night at the Mid-State Fair.
Right.
After all the comments of people, just weighing in.
And I
saying, do it, man. Music's awesome. I started taking my kid, raised him on live music to... Dude, are you crazy? There's going to be 30,000 people there.
I took everything into account, all 45 comments.
Wow, you've already made a decision.
Yeah, I have.
You're not sitting on this any longer.
I actually made a decision yesterday at about... So I vocalized it, at 9 o'clock? It took me about 90 minutes to come to that decision, and I forget what comment really put it over the edge. I don't forget. I remember. I just gotta find the comment that put it over the edge.
Obviously, people were like, "No, it's way too loud." Well, of course, he was going to find ear protection. That's of course that had to be done. Somebody called up and said you could buy little earmuffs for babies over at Big Five. They're like the shooting ones. And but then and I was like, I think it's fine. You've got one of those things that attaches the baby to you. Mm-hmm. But then somebody said, man, that any concert would probably be just fine, but this one, you've got 30,000 people coming and going,
and that's basically what I sided with. That logic and that rationale is
because of all the people.
You have one venue that is hosting 30,000 people, but the capacity of that venue is 14.5 thousand people. So Raina wrote in. She says, on this one, I'd hold off. Any other concert, hell yeah. But because of all, in all caps, the extra people that are going to be bombarding that fair to wait for the second show, it's going to be chaos and might be a bit beyond crowded. Also on Twitter, William wrote in. He's like, I've taken my kids to 5 concerts and I've not enjoyed a single one of them. Don't go. And I think that's what it comes down to. I mean, you take the. I just got stuck in this mindset of I could strap him to me. He's young enough; it'll be fine. But then I got to thinking about what if, and it's going to happen. There needs to be a diaper change. Like if he pees his diaper, he could probably hang in that one. But if he poops his diaper, he's not going to be able to hang in that one. Where am I changing that diaper? I was at the fair with the kids on Saturday, and diaper changing tables are few and far between at the California Mid-State Fair. I'm sure they're there somewhere.
Haven't they made a mobile backpack diaper changing table yet that you just strap on?
The stroller that we have is awesome because it lays down all the way.
Yeah.
And you can turn that into your changing table, and it's got the little privacy cover that comes over.
You can't bring a stroller into the concert.
No, you can't do that. So how am I going to change a baby's diaper?
You've got way too much on
with
the
my
brain.
daughter because she didn't move so much. I could just lay her down on my lap and change her diaper because she was like so
lethargic,
girly. She didn't crash and destroy.
I understand. So there's a lot more that goes into it rather than just finding earplugs and trying to decide how the baby's going to be strapped to you.
Basically, it came down to a dirty diaper. If it was a dirty diaper scenario, I did not see a situation in which it would have been easy to pull that off.
My question is, you guys have all these mommy group friends and all these people that are parents.
They're all going. They're all going.
You have 30 friends that are going to this concert.
I'm not kidding. Everybody I know is going to this damn concert. And it's funny because, they sold out and tickets were going for like $7,000 in StubHub right after they sold out. Now, if Colin pointed this out on our Facebook page yesterday, if you go to that second show, you really want to go see Garth Brooks? You go to that second show is selling, the tickets on StubHub and secondary websites are selling for $15. $15, okay? So you can get them for way cheaper than what Garth Brooks was selling them for.
It was $70 or something like that.
So, just if you really want to go to that show, you have it within your means. And I think that's what happened with everybody that I know. There is not a babysitting option that I trust. Now, we had some people call up after the show yesterday that said, hey, I'll babysit your kid, but I'm not. I might be irresponsible enough to take my kid to a concert with me, but not irresponsible enough to just pan him off on some strangers.
Listen, no, Jeff is very protective because I offered up my wife because she said she would do it, and I was told no.
Well, with Oliver, you can't.
And you've known my wife for 20 years.
I know, but you can't handle Oliver. You can't. It's a different monster. He is now starting to pull himself up on everything. He gets into everything.
That's fine.
There's 5 seconds can't go by in my life where I'm not picking this kid up and relocating him to another part of the room because he's getting into something.
Yeah, well, it sounds to me like you have way more reasons to stay home with your kid than to go to the concert.
Isn't just the peace of mind and the rest and everything well worth not seeing a once-in-a-lifetime concert?
But, I mean, there will be people that bring their kids to the concert. They will. Will they be judged? Will they be judged because they brought their kid?
Well, why we came up with
only by other parents.
We came up with the situation and the scenario that my wife was going to take her sister and our 10-year-old nephew, and my wife is going to take our 4-year-old daughter. Is the 4-year-old cool at the Garth Brooks concert?
Yeah, that's fine.
She did go out and get the headphones,
the headsets.
Yeah, the noise canceling.
I think it's so. I think that's probably the best decision you could have made. So it's done. No Garth Brooks for you this year.
No, that's fine, or ever probably, but that's fine.
You've never seen him?
I'm okay with it. Yeah, what's funny is in my senior year of high school, I sang a Garth Brooks song at an assembly.
That's as close as you are going to hear or see Garth Brooks live.
And I've never seen him live, but that's fine.
What song did you sing?
I sang "The Dance" because it was for a dance.
I wish I had tape of that. That would be awesome.
They've all been destroyed.
How pathetic can some people be?
Did you see this? Uber just rolled out a new regulation. You can now get banned from the ride-sharing service if you have sex in one of their cars. Yeah? Cab drivers heard this and they were like, we're back, baby!
Dumbass of the day. 93.3 KZOZ.
But what happens if it's the driver while he's driving you? What do you do in that instance?
Well, it's ride sharing. It's not like you can really complain if somebody's nice enough to give you a ride.
And that's what Uber's up against this morning. Okay. Anna Manuel took to Uber's Facebook page to complain about a trip in which his driver appeared. And if you see the pictures, I mean, there's really no disputing it whatsoever. I mean, appeared is just a nice way of writing the article, posting the picture to Facebook right now. He's appearing to receive sexual favors from somebody who he describes only as another woman in the car who was clearly on drugs when...
Okay, there's a lot of moving parts here, and you know what's going on, but I still don't know what's going on. So, I'm sorry, can you just start over?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Anna Manuel.
I got the guy's name. He's the Uber driver?
No. Okay. He's the resident from Boston, the passenger who took to Uber's Facebook page to complain about a trip in which his driver was receiving sexual favors from a woman. Okay?
Who was sitting in the front seat?
Yes.
Okay.
He says she was clearly on drugs. As we pulled off, the female in the front attempted to open the door and could not even sit straight as the vehicle was in motion. She then began to grope him and grab him. That's when I started documenting it with photos. He also shared a video. He also shared a video showing the woman caressing and kissing him. She then proceeded to perform
in his lap.
Yes,
with her.
Yes.
Yes.
While he was driving him.
Wow, this sounds like an exciting trip.
This is when he said, "This was my last straw." I asked the driver to stop the car and drop me off. He contacted Uber to complain, and Uber. What do you think Uber did? Like as far as saying, oh, well, sorry about, your inconvenience, your uncomfortable situation.
Would they reverse his fare or something?
Somebody having sex right in front of you while they're driving you down the road.
Yeah, we'll just give you your fare back. No problem.
Oh.
Give you a free ride.
That's not it at all. And keep in mind, he submitted photo and video evidence. He received a $10 credit.
That's like when I would wait 3 hours for the cable company to show up, and then they wouldn't show up, and I'd call them. I'm like, dude, I said everything. Oh, sure, no problem. We'll give you one free on-demand movie. Oh, thanks for the $5.99 credit.
Uber's in the middle of its 180 days of change because of all the negative backlash that they've been getting as of late.
What, from their corporate offices? Or?
Well, yeah.
I've heard about that.
What's going on at corporate and some of their practices. Like I know that one of the policies is they're going to give riders. This is pretty cool, actually. They're going to give riders a discount if you get stuck in construction traffic or something along those lines. It's outside of their control, outside of your control. The rider's going to get discounted their fare, but the driver's not going to take a hit on the payment. Uber's going to end up absorbing the hit from basically construction on the roadways.
I see.
That's pretty cool, right?
See, it's nice to having a insider to Uber since you're a driver to get this kind of information.
This was just in the news reports.
Yeah, but nobody reads news reports about Uber except for people that drive for Uber.
That's true. But if you ride a lot with Uber and you get stuck in
can we get back to the guy that's getting a little?
Uber insists that they immediately removed his driver's access.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. You have to be on the up and up. But I mean, like, what kind of rating did he have going into this event? You know?
I mean,
what was the star level on that?
But
like
I mean,
2.5?
As a person that rides Uber and says, come pick me up, I never get to decide who the driver is depending on their rating. So, I mean, I don't think that matters. But what is the code of conduct?
It matters to Uber because Uber will revoke your access.
But what is the code of conduct that you were expected to uphold while being an Uber driver? What did you agree to?
To be safe and courteous and not be under the influence of
drugs not under the influence
or alcohol or sex.
I would say that who knows? He's probably being very safe.
There's nothing safe about receiving sexual favors while driving a stranger down the road.
This guy's like, man, I got the best Uber gig at all. I
can't even stand.
These girls are all jacked up, and then
staying in a hotel room and hearing people have sex next door in the room. I can't even stand that. Okay, you're gonna tell me that I'm sitting in the back seat? And I'm like, I mean, you got to see the pictures. He put the little Snapchat captions on them. He's like,
well, they're all blurred out, so they're not very much.
He's like, well, this is happening, and he's like, oh gosh, oh no, and then. Head in the lap, right there.
What do you do at this point?
Head in the lap.
Do you ask your driver to pull over and let you out?
That's what he did. He said, stop the car, please. I want to get out. You guys are doing stuff that is very unsafe while driving me around.
Oh, my gosh. And then I'm sure he told the next Uber driver what happened.
Good God.
Do you call Uber if you get if this happens to you?
I don't think Uber's Uber's one of those.
Do you call for another car?
Tech companies? Yeah, I would.
Oh, okay.
I would, because there's like 500 million Uber drivers. Like, There's more Uber drivers than there are people in America.
What kind of guy are you?
I know.
If you're driving, people around as an Uber driver, and you just allow some woman to, I mean, she could be the hottest woman in the world. I mean, it could be any.
The first thing I thought of?
It's so uncomfortable. I wouldn't be able to perform on my end as being a man if this was happening with people in the back seat.
First thing I thought of when I read this story this morning was you, and the reason why is our friend Jason got married 10 years ago in Tahoe, and he decided it would, because in Tahoe at South Lake there's these houses that you can rent, and it's
big old house.
Far more economical to actually stay in a house as it is to stay in a hotel there and have a bunch of buddies stay in the house. So, like, you can rent a house in South Lake with 15 people, have enough room for everybody to sleep, and have a good time, have barbecues. These houses have pools and hot tubs, and they have great views of the lake because they're usually perched up on a hill. And my friend Jason decided to rent one of these homes for his wedding. for everybody to stay in, and everybody just pitched in. Well, Jeremy and I, we pitched in, and we had this room. This, by the way, keep in mind, this
was just like the basement. This wasn't even a room. This was like the downstairs.
This was the night that I decided it was a better idea to sleep in the sports book at the Mont Bleu than it was to sleep up at the house, thank God, because I was sleeping in the bunk above you in a bunk bed, okay? We got the short end of the stick. We got there last, and we were the last ones to pick the bed. They were like, hey, there's a bunk bed next to the pool table in the rec room downstairs. And we're like, great. Awesome. Our buddy Tyler was trying to hook up with this girl that was like a friend of the bride or something.
He worked her all weekend. All weekend he worked her. It was an extended weekend too.
Yeah. It was like started on Wednesday, ended on Sunday. It was too long of a weekend to be sleeping in bunk beds, I'll tell you that much. That's why I opted for the sports book. Alcohol may have had something to do
Anyways,
with that.
We're downstairs in the basement. There's another bunk bed right next to us. So it's like a set of bunk beds, another set of bunk beds. And I'm on the bottom bunk. Jeff's on the top bunk. And then we go to bed. And
I wasn't on the top bunk this night.
Oh, and then I wake up. I wake up after, going to bed like around midnight, around 2 o'clock in the morning. And I hear this talking. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. All right. Oh, he's finally got her in the bed. I'm like, wait a second. They're right next to me.
Yeah.
And he starts getting in there. And she's like, oh, my God. Do you think he can hear us? And I'm just laying there going, oh my God, this is happening right
Stop
now.
Doing this.
And
Stop doing this. Stop doing this. Stop doing this.
I can't plug my ears. I can't move, even though I should have just got up and
you were paralyzed.
Destroyed the whole thing.
If you were in this Uber car, you would have just sat there frozen, and he would have came up to your stop, and you would have not. You would have just sat there. You were like, ah.
I was paralyzed. I've never been paralyzed before.
But
the only thing I'll say,
don't make a sound.
That was
act
good,
like you're not here.
That went my way that night is your buddy Tyler. Yeah. Quick player. That's all I got to say. Thank God. After about 5 minutes, the whole thing was over, and I was able to just go, oh, my God, roll over and go to sleep.
I would have handled that situation much differently. I would have, started, coughing like I do when people walk into the bathroom and I'm in the stall and I don't want them to come up and yank on the door to see if anybody's in there. I go when somebody walks in the bathroom. That's what I do. That's what I would have done in that situation.
Gosh, I think I was so traumatized by that event. I forgot that I had to live that.
I would have started tossing and turning and moving around. So they would have got up and gone and done that deed somewhere else instead of 2 feet away from my head. That is just not fun.
If I would have said anything, if I would have disturbed what happened, I don't think it would have happened for him. Because as it was, he was having to talk her into
You
it
ultimately took one for the team.
And I don't even know Tyler that well.
Yeah, I know. He's a good guy.
I mean, I've had roommates that have been loud, but I mean, that's not a big deal because it's in another room. But when you're 4 or 5 feet away from it, it's...
Oh, literally, the 2 bunk beds were sitting facing each other. I mean, with just enough room to slide a suitcase underneath one of the bunk beds. And you were right there next to it.
I was inside my sleeping bag.
Thankfully,
like a cocoon.
Thankfully, because my bunk was vacant that night. It wasn't above your head.
Right.
Get a load of these guys. Jeff and Jeremy in the morning. 93.3 KZOZ rocks.
So our dumbass of the day is an Uber driver who was apparently getting sexual favors from a female passenger sitting in the front seat as another guy
obviously on
was
drugs.
Picked up in the back.
According to the guy that was the passenger. Obviously on drugs.
What would you do? I mean, have you ever had a situation? You probably never had a situation because you would have said something or it got really
I'm
weird.
not an Uber rider. I'm an Uber driver.
As a driver, no. Have you ever had any weird things happen? Like, what would you do if somebody started fooling around in the back of your car?
Honestly,
and it got
I probably would treat the situation like you did with Tyler.
Probably just keep looking forward?
Yeah. I would be like, drop them off at their destination because it's a little bit different because they're just riding. They're not operating a vehicle. It's not unsafe, to do whatever. I'd be a little upset because I don't want,
It's your seats.
Yeah, exactly. But it's leather and I've got...
Oh, you got leather.
I've got WeatherTech floor mats, so it's fine.
You got those Clorox wet wipes?
Listen, I have kids that ride in the minivan all the time.
Yeah, it's your family wagon. I mean,
but that being said, it's easy to clean up. That's why we got the leather seats, because it's easy to clean up. We got them for the kids. If we experience any other things, listen, probably a lot worse has been on those seats than anything that a couple in love.
But at least
do to the seats.
But those are your kids, whatever.
I'd be really upset.
Probably some cookies ground into the seats there a little bit.
If it was
crackers.
If it was a long drive, I'd be really upset.
I would pull over.
But I never do long drives because I live in San Luis, and it's 90% of the time it's Cal Poly kids, and it's usually like $10 rides at the most.
But you work early in the morning, so I doubt you would have to deal with this. You pick up some unusual suspects?
I haven't as of to now, but I can see a situation where, there have been couples that have got in that I'm like, oh no, I hope they don't get romantic. I hope they don't, start getting it on in the backseat, or I hope they don't start, fooling around, because they're way into each other. Because you got to remember, I'm picking up people like at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday or Sunday morning. So it's like that is prime time for
that early window,
leaving a late party, going back to somebody's house,
right?
Which happens often in my Uber.
I didn't know you started that early. I thought you were like around 6.
I get up the same time that I do Monday through Friday. Actually, I get up maybe a little bit earlier. So I'll go and I'll do that. And I start super early, because the money to be made in Uber at that time, and I shouldn't be saying this because now every Uber driver is going to come out and step on my game, but whatever, is between 4 and 5. 4 and 5, for whatever reason, between 4 and 5. That is the time in which I make the most money.
And that's when you're the most busy, because people need a ride home?
Yeah,
either from crashing at somebody's house
or crashing at somebody's house.
The Uber ride of shame?
Yeah, or not crashing at somebody's house and staying up at somebody's house. All that. The emergency room. That is the opportune time right there between 4 and 5.
You've been to the emergency room?
Oh, many occasions.
Many occasions?
Yeah, 3 or 4 times.
And what are you doing? Are you taking someone there?
No,
or
you pick up somebody.
Oh, you're picking up somebody that had a bad night.
The best was when it was awesome, because it was 2 girls. One girl was still in that robe that they give you in the emergency room,
the nightgown thing that you wear.
She was obviously like close to alcohol poisoning, and her friend was the responsible one that probably Ubered to the hospital with somebody else to pick up her friend, and then had to Uber back to the dorms at Cal Poly. And so she was like, dressed normal, like, totally looked put together, totally sober. Then you have her best friend who is in a ER nightgown and can't even stay awake for 10 seconds. To like, her friend is like the sober one's like having to, hey, okay, we're almost there, shaking her gently. Come on, it's okay, we're almost there, while trying to have small talk with me. So, how you doing this morning? And I just chuckle.
She just wants you to know that she's pretty normal and she's like, not a mess.
So where are you from? How long you been doing this?
Don't mind my friend who would just IVs and gowns hooked up to her.
And I finally just have to laugh. And I'm like, you know what? Just take care of your friend. It's fine.
Gosh, cool. This has got an idea brewing. We all know how popular Live PD is. Uber Live.
I've contemplated it. Like, just turn it on Facebook Live and just... But then I think you have to get like consent or something, and I don't want to go there.
Keep it local. Jeff and Jeremy in the morning. 93.3 KZOZ rocks.
We're asking you yesterday if you had to choose between one concert at this year's Mid-State Fair, not counting Garth Brooks, or WWE, which one would you choose? And I know that you were really hoping people were going to go wrestling. And, 40% of people did. But 60% of people said they would still rather see
40%?
A terrible concert than wrestling.
Well, not terrible concert. Because, tonight's Keith Urban. He's fairly popular. Kid Rock was on Sunday night. Fairly popular. Zach Brown Band. Fairly popular. To any one of those 3 concerts, I probably would pick over WWE.
So yesterday was a country show, the band Perry and Hunter Hayes.
That's a terrible concert.
And so, in your opinion, that's a terrible concert? There was a lot of people that probably thought it was a good concert because I think they sold a lot of tickets to it.
They did?
But, well, I didn't go in. I don't know exactly, but I'm sure they sold enough tickets to it. But, so I guess what people are saying is they would rather see something like that than WWE. That's kind of how I read the poll. Maybe other people read the poll other ways, but people still like their live music.
There were 3 concerts that I would have chosen, 4 actually, because I'm a huge Counting Crows Matchbox 20 fan. Even though the concert, it was a good concert, but it wasn't like, it was what I expected essentially. There are 4 concerts that I would choose over WWE if WWE was coming. In all honesty, because music is more appealing.
Right, right.
When I think about it, like when we brought up the subject yesterday around this time, I was like, yeah, hell yeah, WWE. But then I got to thinking about it. It's fake. It's acting. It's not real. I always got to bring myself back into that when it comes to big time wrestling, or wrestling, if you will. Is that while entertaining and not real, And
it would still be great to see something like that.
If it's not real, it's kind of hard for me. I got to take it with a grain of salt.
The problem is, and I guess it's not a big deal because they have those big screens, is, watching 2 guys wrestle. Would they wrestle probably in the middle of the arena? Or would they wrestle up on where the stage is? I would think they would have to be wrestling in the middle of the arena so everybody could get a good shot at it. The good news is those grandstands that sit alongside the main stage, you would actually be able to look down and see something because everything would circle around it. Mm-hmm. So,
are those movable? Are those movable? Because could you move those in? Like say, move them out in front of the stage, because the stage is really just taking up space at that point. So if you take them and move them in, and then slide them together, and then put the wrestling ring where the soundboard is. I know you lose a lot of floor space that way, but you can't really, if you're row 30 and you're sitting up against the stage, and the wrestling match is 30 rows. You have to look over 30 people. That's kind of hard, That's why they have them in the basketball arenas where everybody's looking down on the action.
Hi, go ahead. What do you want to say?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hey, I can't believe the wrestling is even a question. Honestly, that's just me. Compared to a concert, there's no way you can go to WWE compared to a concert. That's me.
But the thing is, there's 11 concerts there's 11 nights at the fair that they do a show. We're just saying one of those 11 could be wrestling. You still would, you'd still rather not go. All right, he's got the radio up too loud.
I would probably go to. I would maybe switch out one of them. The one last night, I couldn't really hear it that well.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate the call.
Tractor pull, wrestling. Which one are you going to go to?
Wrestling.
One of the 2 rodeos or wrestling? Which one are you going to go to?
Well, rodeo's kind of fun, even though I never go. I never go, though. I never go.
Yeah.
I always want to go. I think I've gone one time to watch the guys fight. And I went once last year when the guys were going to, dive over the top of the bulls, and that was kind of fun. The whatever they called that, the trapeze bullfighters, and they run straight at a bull as the bull's running at them, and then they dive up over the top of the bull and then do a somersault and run away.
That's pretty cool.
That was actually
like when Kobe Bryant jumped that car on the roof of the parking garage,
which we don't really think really happened.
We think that was
really happened.
That was trickery,
but this was real. These guys were really jumping over bulls, and then they put people in those giant bubbles that you see the kids play around in the pool at the fair.
Yeah.
And they were rolling around the arena, and the bulls were knocking them all over the place. That was pretty entertaining. But I still think I'd rather see.
Is that rodeo going on this
WWE.
Year? Is the one that you're talking
There's
about?
a rodeo going on Saturday night, but I don't think it's not that one. So
that's too bad. Hey, news on the since we're talking about fighting, Mayweather and Conor McGregor fight, how you can see it if you don't want to see it on pay-per-view. They just made an announcement that they've teamed up with Fathom Events, which I have no idea, and I've looked into. And I still don't know what this means for anybody that wants to see the fight on the Central Coast. But they are partnering with Mayweather Promotions to put the fight on the big screen, on movie screens. So
so you go to a theater and you can watch.
Yeah, if you want to go to a movie and watch the fight, which is
that's all good. But I mean,
that's a cool way to see the fight.
If you can go to a good, like the Galaxy, for example, has a bar. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I got to have a beer or two when I'm watching a fight.
Well, I think
can't sit around and drink diet soda or something.
I think most theaters now have some kind of alcohol component to it. I know the one downtown does. The one
they do
underneath the Starbucks, which is always
that you can't bring the Starbucks into,
which always blows my mind. You can if it's movie temperature. Which, by the way,
what does the movie temperature?
I don't know.
Are you sure you said that right? You just said if it's movie temperature.
Yeah. So if you go to Starbucks,
what's that mean?
If you go to Starbucks and you tell them that you need the coffee to be movie temperature, they say, "Oh, okay," and then they just write a certain temperature on the coffee, even though it's not. I think this is in case it spills on anybody that it won't give them third-degree burns.
So does that mean you can't order hot coffee when you go into the theater? Like they don't sell coffee in there?
I don't know.
I got to imagine they do.
The coffee that they do is a little bit cooler.
At a certain temperature.
Yeah.
It's at movie theater temperature.
Yeah, so anyways, if you go to Starbucks and you ask for your coffee to be movie theater, then they'll look at your coffee, they'll see that it says movie theater temperature.
I'm glad to hear that because it's been a couple of years, but I went in there and they're like, yeah, you got to drink that outside or you got to dump it right here. I'm like,
I think that policy has changed in the last couple of years, so that's...
Chris, they don't tell you till after you buy the tickets. You're like, okay, all right. Let me just pound this Americano.
150-degree liquid.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's just boiling hot water in the coffee. So that sounds awesome.
But they sell beer and wine there. So,
yeah,
I mean,
it could be a fun way to do it. But, I mean, when you go to a bar and you would watch a pay-per-view fight in the past, and I haven't done this since... God, it's been a long time. Probably Tyson fought. And you would have to pay extra at the door to get in because the bar is charged so much.
I think it depends on where you
live.
the
fight.
I don't think that's the case in California.
Oh, California's different. Okay, that was in Washington State.
Yeah, I'm not sure they can do that. But yeah, I know that in Washington State they would actually charge the establishments more money pay-per-view so the establishment would have to try to recoup that money for the pay-per-view for a big fight.
What's
and they would do it by charging a cover charge.
What is this fight going to cost? $100?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I realize you probably don't have it in front of you, but I think that's what I've heard. Mm-hmm. It's $100. So you get together with some friends and you everybody chips in. I would chip in $25 to watch this fight.
25? Really?
Well, you wouldn't chip in $25 to see this fight?
No.
All right.
Not in today.
I got to call my friends back. Jeff doesn't want to pay $25. We need to invite a few more people.
See, to me, going to the buddy's house to watch the fight isn't watching the fight. That's going to the buddy's house to socialize.
No, you're going there to watch the fight.
No, because then you got the
noise
there
early, you got some
everybody
beers.
Else. You've got everybody talking about what they think's going to happen in the fight. You've got dudes, testosterone through the roof.
This isn't going to happen in a movie theater? This is only going to happen you can't control the audience, the crowd.
You
can't
control it at a buddy's house. You can't control it at a buddy's house either.
You can.
At least in a movie theater, you have super loud sound to drown out everybody else. So it is easier to focus because that sound piped in is...
See, you're used to going places with your wife.
Bigger,
and her friends are there. And see, you have to tell the ladies they have to leave.
No.
Unless they're going to be quiet and watch the fight.
No, that has nothing. I've never went to a buddy's house with my wife to watch a fight of any sort. I fell out of favor with the pay-per-view party a long time ago because everybody's Jimmy the Greek. Everybody's got to give their fight analysis, and they know nothing about it, and they've got to corner you with their fight analysis, and you're like, man, I'm just here to eat some guacamole and some chips and watch this fight. That's why the movie theater is the better route for me for McGregor and Mayweather. The movie theater is like the best route for me. If I watch it at home and I get the pay-per-view, then I'm going to have the kids bothering me. If I go to it's like a concert, if you will. Or a movie for that matter.
You have a lot of things to deal with in life. You have a lot of problems.
No.
You have a lot of things that bother you.
If I'm going to lay my hard-earned money down on something,
I'm going to invite some people over. We're going to watch the fight. And
I want to consume that. But it's going to be a party. That's a party. That's not watching the fight. That's a party. No, you want to invite me over for a party, do it on a Saturday night that does not have Mayweather and McGregor fighting, okay?
4 to 6 people is not a party.
Yeah,
right?
it is. In my life, it is.
4 to 6 guys watching a fight is not a party. That's 4 to 6 guys coming over, drinking some beer, watching a fight. Maybe eating some food.
And talking to one another during the fight.
Not during the fight. You don't talk during the fight.
Yes, people do.
You talk before the fight. You talk in between rounds.
You get this thing that happens at the pay-per-view party where...
What you need to do is bring headphones.
Especially super boisterous people, where people need to
You're cranky
out loud the next person, okay? So, like, say McGregor lands a punch on Mayweather early on. Everybody's be like, oh, damn! Oh, damn! And you're like, dude, settle down. The fight just got underway.
That's part of the excitement of the fight, though.
No, it's not.
Oh, damn!
Oh,
that'll be me.
Damn. Oh, my God, did you see that, dog? I don't want that.
You would never want to watch a Seahawks game with me because every freaking hit
I know
is I am doing backflips and I'm like, in your face! In your face!
You pick up that first down on 2nd down and 3 and you're like, yeah! I can't watch that. I got to watch sports by myself. There's 2 things I do by myself.
Okay.
I drink by myself and I watch sports by myself.
See, good. Now I don't have to invite you because I'm like, whenever I invite you over for anything, I have to tell everybody. All right, nobody talk to Jeff.
Yes.
All right, Jeff doesn't want to be bothered.
Could you guys please
don't offer him anything to eat? He's very particular and he'll bring his own beer. Don't offer him anything. Just leave him alone. He'll sit in the corner.
If at your pay-per-view party you have a satellite room for serious watchers, where you have to,
I have to have a separate room for you now, soundproof.
Where you sign a contract. It doesn't have to be soundproof, but you have to sign a contract that if you're going to watch it in this room, you cannot make a peep. You must just watch the fight. Then I'll come over to your pay-per-view
I almost
party.
want to do this now and put like a 13-inch television in there and say,
I'd be fine with
there you go. There you go. There's your satellite room. The rest of us will be upstairs watching the 70-inch.
I would take 13-inch television over 70-inch television with, oh, damn, did you see that? Guys jumping all over each other. Oh, no, Mayweather's got his ass. He's the best technical fighter. Oh, no, McGregor's going to mop the floor with him. I don't want to hear all that. Leave that to the professionals.
Yeah, you should definitely.
That's why I go to the movie theater to watch it.
Go to the movie theater. Tell me how that works out. Because I guarantee you're now going to have, what do those theaters hold? 50 to 100 people all doing that.
No word on whether or not any of the movie theaters on the Central Coast will be showing it.
All right. I bet you if there's one, it'll be that one in Atascadero.
Probably. They usually do special things like that.
I mean, and you know what? All the movie theaters today have been, upgraded, and it would be awesome. But I just want to control who's there. Because unlike you don't see it. I could see this going. I could see fights breaking out when you get into public places, especially if there's alcohol flowing.
Roman Rhodes on
people standing up. Sit down.
Roman Rhodes on Twitter says it's just like going to a buddy's house for a barbecue when you go for a fight. No, it's not. Because barbecues don't have that fight testosterone. Like, remember watching Rocky as a kid? When you watch Rocky as a kid and as you were growing up, you had that built-in testosterone because you're a boy, right? And when you wanted to watch Rocky as a kid, afterwards you wanted to fight everybody.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning. Listen online at kzoz.com.
Hi, good morning. What's up?
Hi, is this Mark and Brian?
Yes, it is. How can we help you?
Okay, hi, this is Rooster Billy.
What's that?
This is Rooster Billy, bro. Jeopardy.
Is this Boxcar Willie?
Hey guys. I'm in a motel across from Taco Bell.
Oh man, you're living in large.
Well, I just got out of rehab and I had my SSI money, so I got $1,000 to spend. I am tired. I'm gonna get in the shower right now, and you can go find a cheaper motel room for tonight.
Right on.
Paid $145 for this one last night.
Oh,
hey, hotel rooms in San Luis Obispo are not cheap.
I'm going to go over to the Homestead Motel where they're like $75 a night.
Is that how much it costs? I've always wondered whenever I'm getting on the freeway there and I see the old Homestead hotel there
that's
tucked away on the off ramp. How much how much a room at that place
the
is?
last motel in town, they're cheap.
Yeah. Oh no, I know.
Nice.
Sometimes if you get it for a couple of days during the week, it's $50 a night.
Wow, jeez.
Gee.
Yeah.
Homeless special. Yeah.
And I got a lady with me. We're going to go over there and conjugate our marriage. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was kidding, honey.
She sounds like a keeper. Hey, Chicken Billy, can we talk to the lady friend?
Yeah, okay. Hang on. What's up to you?
What is it?
It's Mark.
Put a little boogie in it.
Oh, hello.
Hey, it's Mark and Brian. How you doing?
And who is this?
Hey, what's the last romantic thing that Billy did for you?
Let's see. He bought me a scratch-off lottery ticket and shared his Captain Morgan spice rum with me.
Right, sure. God, that sounds so sweet.
Oddly enough,
And jokes around the lap.
me and Billy have a lot in common because that's the last romantic thing I did for my wife. Kayak actually has it tonight at $65.
Wow. What about the old Motel 6? I mean, those used to be like $39 a night.
90.
It's up to 90 now, huh?
Yeah, 90. Place he stayed last
Apparently
night.
that electric bill for the light is getting
He said
expensive.
it was across the street from Taco Bell, but
I don't know where that is.
Taco Bell on Olive, right down from the Homestead.
Oh, right there. Okay.
It's not going far.
Oh, okay. That's the budget end of town for a hotel room. Apparently,
The budget in is
it's called the budget in.
What he said he spent $149. That's what they're charging for
Is
a
that
room
the
tonight.
hotel that's behind the old Bon Tom's location?
No, that's the Ramada.
Oh, okay. Boy, you're really good with these hotels. Where's the budget in that
Across the street from there.
Just
Right across the street.
Right
on the freeway.
Right by the pickle?
No,
Right
down,
by the
right on the freeway.
Cowgirl?
See, the budget inn has got an issue because it's got one of its driveways pulls right out into the off ramp for Olive Street in San Luis Obispo. So if you're not really quick, if you're going to go onto Olive Street out of that driveway, you get T-boned. Boom, by a car coming right off the freeway because they don't know to slow down that fast. You know, you got to slow down really, really fast. And boom, you could just be obliterated. So maybe that's why the good rate.
It's worth if it's worth the risk. You can save.
If you're willing to get T-boned leaving our parking lot, then our hotel's for you. They get a 5.8 rating.
That's the budget or the homestead?
If you want, that's the budget. If you want a good,
which we all have, homes for the most part,
Right.
so we wouldn't need that.
right? If you want good comedy,
But in case you need one,
go to Kayak and read the reviews on the Homestead Motel.
why don't you share that link?
It makes me want to go there and do some charity work.
Some charity work.
Yeah, help them out a little bit.
Like, what do they need?
I don't know,
You gotta paint the shutters, or-
advise their cleaning staff or something. How many websites do you think people go to when they book a hotel room?
Well, you go to one of those, Travelocity type places, and you start there, and then you start looking at other places.
Yeah, and each website would be if you click on a hotel and you're on Travelocity, but you click on say the Motel 6, and you're checking out the Motel 6, then you check out the Holiday Inn. That would constitute as two different websites.
You and I stay at different places.
Well, I'm just saying those are national chains that everybody would know of.
Okay, but sure. I would say, God, I'll spend sometimes 30 minutes doing this. I don't know, 25. 25 different pages.
38.
Okay, I could see that.
38.
Because you see
different
one and
clicks.
Now, what about if you're just looking at
sometimes you're looking at the
Photos.
Holiday Inn, and you're on Travelocity, then you go to Expedia and you want to see how much it is there. Then you want to see how much it is on Hotels.com or Booking.com or one of the other countless Trivago websites. This is big money.
I forget which one we used. We got screwed when we were on vacation, and we booked a certain kind of room. And we get there, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have that room available." I'm like, "We booked this 3 months ago. We booked that specific room, that type of room. It was like a junior suite with a balcony thing." And I'm like, "I don't understand. If I've reserved this and I gave my credit card, and
They overbook.
Oh, exactly. Oh, well, we'll make it up to you. We're going to give you a $200 credit on Expedia. I think it was Expedia or Travelocity. We'll give you a $200 certificate. And then I'm like, no, that's not good enough. I go, I want breakfast for, me and my wife, and then we have some friends staying here. I want that all covered too. And the guy kind of hems and haws. And then, I think if you push it, they'll do just about anything to keep you happy. But the tricky part was that $200 credit, we went to try to use it. It was almost impossible to use it. Once they gave it to us, there was all kinds of conditions to be able to use it. I was finally able to use it.
It was blacked out
on a night when we came back from our vacation, and we wanted to stay down on. Because we're coming back at 9 o'clock at night, we wanted to stay down in L.A. instead of driving back home, and so that's what we ended up being able to use it on.
So much availability in order for you to cash in that voucher and all that stuff, and that's how these companies are now thriving. These travel companies, Expedia, is under fire because Seattle lady. Her name's Holly Parsons. She booked a 3-night stay in a condominium at the Worldmark 7th Mountain Resort in Bend. Her son was playing in a lacrosse tournament in Bend, Oregon.
Which is middle nowhere, Oregon.
Yeah, she booked it 4 months in advance. But these Worldmarks, they're timeshares, right?
Worldmark?
Yeah. Isn't the Worldmark the timeshare? I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay.
But they also will rent rooms when they have availability,
Sure,
or they look like they're going to have availability time. Now, she booked this 4 months in advance, okay? About 2 weeks before the lacrosse tournament, she gets an email from Expedia, because she booked it through Expedia, saying, sorry, your reservation was canceled due to overbooking. She'd already paid for the room, $874.
So they refunded to her? Or?
No.
What do you mean, no?
It was within their policy not to refund her. Now, she became the thorn in the side, but Expedia says in the company's terms and conditions that we have no liability and will make no refund. These are external factors beyond the direct control of Expedia. She was on the phone for 6.5 hours over the course of 3 days with Expedia customer service before they offered her $500 in Expedia vouchers, these vouchers that you speak of.
Right.
And 3 nights in a Holiday Inn Express near her destination. Now, near her destination could have been Redmond, which is 30 miles away from Bend. I don't know.
Klamath Falls.
I don't know. Well, that's really far away. That's really far away
it's
from
near,
Bend.
though. There's nothing else between it. Going south.
Miles away.
Outside of Bend, south, there's nothing until you get to Klamath Falls. At least that I can remember.
And she called the experience awful, dealing with multiple people repeating herself like you would with anything when it comes to customer service. They're like, okay, let me get my manager. They pass you on. You're just getting passed around back and forth in hopes that you will finally drop it because your time is more important than having to deal with this. And then they walk away with $874 with their client, the Worldmark. My question is, why wouldn't you, if you're getting this deal, this is what we do, okay? Is we will look up the deals online, and then we will call the hotel direct and say, "Listen,
yes,
will
you honor this?"
We did this at we were heading up to my in-laws' house, and it was getting late, and we said, "You know what? We don't want to do the last 2.5 hours of the drive. We're going to book a hotel room in Redding. The kids are tired." We're looking it up on the phone. I am, as the passenger, I am the booking agent. I've become a travel agent at this point in time.
No, my wife has done this when I'm driving.
And I look it up, and I'm like, okay, Kayak says that they've got a room for $93 at the Red Lion. It's good ratings, so let's go ahead and do that. So I start to book it. My wife says to me, don't book it through Kayak. I'm like, why not? It's like, because they always give you a crappy room. Have you ever noticed that? If you book through one of these third-party sites, like the people at the hotel are like a little bit mad that you booked through the third-party site and not directly through them because they have to give a commission to Kayak.
I know. I haven't done it enough. But.
Okay, yeah. They have to give a commission to Kayak, so you get like the crappiest room in their facility. Whereas if you call them direct, they don't have to pay the commission to the booking site. And they're like, yeah, we'll honor that rate. Well, sure, no problem, because at least we don't have to pay them a commission for that rate.
Right, sure.
And we'll give you a little bit better room.
That's what we did. We were driving back. We stayed in Corning, coming back from the Northwest, and we stayed in Corning. But it was all region. Booked up. Wanted to stay at that casino.
Look at us, Expedient in the state of Jefferson.
And the wife is looking up where we could stay, and we had a dog with us at the time, so it was a little tricky. We had a tank, and so we had to get a dog room. But anyways, and then she found a rate. She goes, but I'm going to call them and see if they'll honor this rate. And so she called them and said, hey, what are your rates going for? And they were going for like $20 more a night. And then she says, well, hey, whatever's got this. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll honor that. Go ahead. And then, boom, it was done. And we had, we just had a basic room. We were on the bottom floor, so maybe that's a crappy room because I had to listen to people above us all night be loud and noisy. But
But I mean, at the last minute like that, that's probably all they have.
That's
available.
a really good way to do it, though. Find a rate, call the hotel directly, and see if they'll honor it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way to go, because then you're getting the guarantee from the hotel direct.
Because
when you involve that middleman,
right,
that's when the problem is arrive, because once you're involved in a middleman situation, you are opening yourself up to the opportunity to get passed around to 6 different quote-unquote managers to deal with your problems when your hotel room you just get the rug pulled out from underneath you, and you've paid $874 for it.
Yeah, I've been in a situation, too, where we booked through one of these Expedia-type sites and then called the hotel to confirm because we wanted to make sure, because they told us there was only 1 or 2 rooms left, and they were like, no, we never got your reservation.
No, we never got that.
And I was like,
do you have a booking number for that? Then you have to call. This happened with me, Booking.com. Then you have to call Booking.com, and then Booking.com is like, oh, well, they have you leave a message, and then they call you back at their convenience.
Yeah, it was.
And it's like, are you kidding me?
The next day before we got it canceled. And everything.
When booking a hotel room, when you book a hotel room, do you research on the internet, find the lowest price, then call the hotel to see if they'll honor it? Have you ever had that, though, where you've ran into that situation where you tried to go about the way we go about it, and then the person on the other end of the line goes, well, why didn't you book it through that website then? I've had that happen before. And then at that point in time, I'm like, we've already gone too far down this road. I better find a different property to stay at. Do you either do that, or do you book directly through a third-party site like Expedia, Kayak, or Trivago? Book on the hotel's website on the internet.
Okay.
Or is there a certain chain of hotels that you trust?
What about just have your wife do it?
That's not on there.
Maybe it should be. That's what I do.
Is there a certain chain that you guys trust?
No. I mean,
I like Best Westerns.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Best Westerns usually pretty safe.
I like La Quintas.
Hamptons.
I guess, if there's a La Quinta, I like to stay at La Quinta.
Or anything that is attached to a Hilton brand. Like I think they're like Fairfields or whatever. Anything that's a Hilton brand, you can pretty much know that you're going to get a safe room.
Right. We always stay at the Marriott down in L.A.
Yeah, Marriott's a good one.
But that's about the only time I stay in a hotel, because I'm going to park my car there, and for a week I fly.
Residence Inn. I love them all.
Okay. So not have your wife does it? Isn't going to make it on there?
No.
Okay. I know.
Most people can wipe their own ass.
Our California Fresh Poll question asking you, when booking a hotel room, do you usually go through one of these third-party internet companies such as an Expedia, Kayak, or a Trivago, one of those things, and then research it there first, and then call the hotel and see if they will honor that same price? Do you just book it through the third party? Do you just book it through the hotel? Or do you just kind of go, you know what, I'm a Ramada guy, and I'm always going to stay at a Ramada?
The story that we talked about with that lady who ended up being like, she paid $874 for a room. Like, I have, there's one policy that I live by, and that is never pay for the room up front.
Right. They want your credit card, though.
They want
to hold it.
They want your credit card to hold it, and there is a 24 to 48 hour cancellation. I'm cool with that. Okay, the 48-hour cancellation, I'm fine with that. That's on my end. That's not on your end. You guys have held the room for me. You should charge me some kind of fee for the cancellation, okay? But to take the money up front 3 months in advance, that is fishy. And it's funny because I was looking for a hotel room the other day, and I went ahead and I looked it up on Google, and Google now is getting into the travel realm, where if you research a hotel, the Google will do the booking for you, and they will take the money up front, and then they'll get they'll book the information for you with the hotel, but they're taking the money up front, like any one of these third-party websites. So Google's like smart, hip to the game. They're like, well, if these third-party websites are doing it, people come to us and search out hotels. So I came close to booking it through Google because I trust Google so much with everything. Then I stopped, and I'm like, wait a minute, you have to pay for everything up front. Let me go to the hotel's website. I went to the hotel's website, and on the hotel's website, same price, and they had a 48-hour cancellation notice. I'm like, well, why is Google taking it up front? If the hotel's not even going to take it up front.
Yeah,
so when you introduce these third parties, the middleman, then you're only opening yourself up to being screwed like the woman in Bend, Oregon did.
But there's still a way that you can use those third parties maybe to get that rate or that deal. I mean, there's a reason that you can use them. But, if you can find out that rate and then call the hotel and they'll honor it, then you can go right around them. Hi, good morning. What did you want to say?
I always use Travelocity, and then I always check with the hotel myself.
That's the way. So like when you go about it, then what you're saying is you will check the third-party site on the internet, then you will call the hotel direct.
That is correct.
To see if they'll honor that price.
That seems to be the best way to do it.
Have you ever ran into a situation like what I was talking about earlier, and that is where the person goes like, well, why didn't you book it through that website?
Yes, I have, sir.
And what do you say to them when that happens? Because I feel awkward.
Because I'm not an effing moron, and then you hang up and you go somewhere else.
I always try to be polite about it and just see if you're, in the best interest of the business. And if I'm a returning customer, I always throw that in there. And,
because
them that's always been good with me. Because I always try and go back to the place that's good,
Yeah. No, that's a good way. You always throw that out there. Say, I want to, I've stayed there before, or something along those lines. And so you think that they got you on the hook as a loyal customer, so you can get that deal. I'm afraid that when we go down that road and they say, well, why didn't you book it on the third party site? Then I'm afraid that they'll see that reservation come through immediately after I hang up the phone with them, and they'll be like, that's the guy.
They're going to flag it?
That's the guy. They're going to flag it, and they're going to put me in their worst possible room. Because it's happened before.
But you're only, thanks for the call, you're only there a night, right?
Yeah, but
I don't know. These motels or hotels that are like motels and like, the airport hotels and all that kind of stuff. It's like, I don't know, you just need a place to crash that's clean.
Sometimes you need a place to crash, but sometimes you need something a little bit more.
What, you want a nice view of I-5 or the 101?
I don't want stains on the carpets. I don't want it to smell like the pizza that the guy had in it the night before. Those things. Those things are a bit of put off, I don't want it to be
people that work the hotel
further away from where I want it to be.
Booking counter, do they get a commission or something?
No, they don't.
I mean, why would they even be upset with you in the first place?
And that's the thing is, if I worked at that hotel, that would be my response. Because I worked at that line of business in rental cars. And that is, I would be like, well, why didn't you book it through that website then? What are you doing calling me?
All right, I will. All right, I just wanted to make sure because in the past I've had issues where I've booked through those websites and then the price didn't match up or there was some other issue.
I don't know.
I wanted to make sure this was.
I don't know what to tell you, dude. Then I hang up the phone on you. Then I wait to see your reservation.
Then I call your damn boss and I file a complaint. It's customer service. You can't act like that.
I'm throwing you in that Kia Rio. Because you wanted an economy car. I got an economy car for you.
I would hope they would train the people that work the phones at these places a little bit better because now you're not going to stay at that chain anymore.
I know. It really, but they don't, though. That's the thing. I mean, these are entry-level jobs, But
at the end of the day, the smart thing to do is, find the deal online and then confirm it with the hotel, see if they'll match it, and you can book straight through them because it's so much easier.
Is it so much easier than just clicking and entering your credit card number, though?
Yes, because I've told you I've done that before, and then we called the hotel to make sure it went through, and then they never got it. And then 45 minutes later when we got to the hotel, and we said, hey, by the way, did that ever come through? No, but they already had our reservation.
But it's one of those things where it takes getting burned until you've learned that lesson. You will go ahead and use the Trivagos and the kayaks and the Expedias of the world until you get burned. And then once you get burned, you're like, I remember that one day those two guys were talking about it on the radio, and that guy called up and said, the best thing to do is research the prices, then call the hotel.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning. Listen online at kzoz.com.
Let's say you go back into the dating field, okay?
All right.
And on the first date, the date says, hey, do you mind if I step outside for a smoke?
Sure, I'll join you.
Oh, okay.
Because if you smoke, you poke.
Oh, that's right. That's true. You're like, jackpot.
Well, I don't know. If I'm going back out on the dating field after 23 years of, being with one person,
you don't know
these dates are not going to last very long. So, you can do whatever you want. If you're hot enough and you actually are hanging out with me and you actually want to be around me, then sure, you can do whatever you want.
What about if they're on their phone during the date, like always looking at Facebook or Instagram?
Yeah, I could tolerate that for a while, but that's That's a deal breaker after a while, right? Because obviously they're more interested in their phone than they are you. And then obviously it's not going anywhere.
The reason why I ask is Plenty of Fish is a dating website.
I'm very familiar with it. I have a friend who's been on it for like 4 or 5 years.
Really?
Yeah.
How's it work?
It's free, and he's you know him, but he lives up in Washington State, and he was dating this terrific gal and like way out of his league, but he's just kind of a goober, so it didn't work out, and she moved on, and now he's been fishing on Plenty of Fish, and so when we go camping. Before we go camping, we'll be all hanging out around a fire pit at my buddy's cabin who has Wi-Fi, and he's just on the tablet.
He's checking it out.
And we're like, oh, yeah, Ben's fishing. And so he gets these women that live in the area.
It's a fishing trip that you go on with Ben.
Right. Yeah, but he's doing a different kind of fishing trip.
He's fishing in the dark.
And I'm like, I had to ask him. I'm like, Ben, you've been on this thing for like 4 years. I mean, have you ever asked anyone out? He goes, oh, yeah, I talk to girls. And, I've actually invited a couple of women to come upriver and hang out at the cabin with me.
That's his problem right there.
And I'm like, wait a second. You're messaging this some strange woman that has never met you, only seen a picture of you on this dating website, to drive up into a place where
Dark Canyon.
There's no phone service and your cell phone
service. They just got electricity 3 years ago.
And spend the night with you in your trailer at a cabin. Oh, she didn't have to spend the night. I'm like, oh, God, that's weird. You're a creepy dude. So Plenty of Fish I know is free, unlike some of the other ones like Farmers and, Match and all that kind of stuff. So, but I think that what he told me was the quality of women tend to be a little bit better on the paid sites. He says there's a lot more people you have to kind of filter through on the free sites like
you get what you pay for, essentially,
exactly.
is what he's saying. The reason why I ask this is because which one would be more of a deal breaker to you? The woman that's on the phone or the woman that goes out for a smoke break?
Phone.
You're in line with everybody on Plenty of Fish.
Well, think about it.
19% of those surveyed said that the number one deal breaker is when their date looks down at their phone throughout the night, whereas only 15%, now it's close, but 15% of people said it's a deal breaker if they go out for a smoke break.
Yeah, I understand, if something happens great and you're getting intimate and all of a sudden it tastes like an ashtray, but if they're looking at the phone, it's just rude, and I don't think anybody wants to tolerate. People want people to pay attention to them. And
this cannot be the case.
And how are you going to get to know somebody?
This cannot be the case on the Central Coast. Okay? I've got to think that smoke break is far more of a put-off than looking at the phone. Now, this is a national website, and this is a national poll. They surveyed 2,000 of their users on Plenty of Fish. But think of what a social pariah you are here on the Central Coast if you're a smoker. Hell, at the fair, they won't even let you. It's a fair, for God's sake.
Oh, people are smoking. I've seen them.
Fair.
Yeah.
A fair. They won't even let you smoke. Or it's taboo to smoke.
It's taboo,
at a fair.
People just step outside the gates and smoke. I see them smoking on the grounds.
Most other fairs around the country are places people go to smoke. Okay?
I want to know where the carnies are smoking. To see if you're a real smoker and you need to smoke a lot, you go to the carnies and go, hey, where's your spot? Yeah, no, you're right. I don't know.
You're an outcast here to smoke. Can carnies afford to smoke anymore? I don't think they can. If I've been priced out of the field, then they've definitely been priced out.
Does Amazon sell cigarettes yet?
No, they don't.
Can you get them at like an Idaho price or something like that, or wherever they're cheap? But if somebody's on their phone the whole time, and it's like, what's the point? It's like you can't interact. There's no point of getting to know someone.
What is more widely accepted here on the Central Coast? Being on your phone the entire time? We're in California. People are very self-absorbed in California. I'm sorry. It's the damn truth, okay?
No, I'm sure it is.
Or smoking a cigarette.
It's like, if you're going to do the date.
Kissing an ashtray.
You almost have to bring your phone with you and then just text the person. And when they're looking at their phone, just send them a text going, hey, so what do you think of this place? I don't know.
We decided to conduct our own Central Coast survey. And so far we've had one response because we just posted it 3 minutes ago on our social media. And Eric says the phone is a bigger turnoff. It simply shows that they are engaging in conversations with other people than you. Smoking is just a habit and doesn't necessarily mean that they're being rude, that they just need to cop their fix
Yeah, and probably hanging out with you, pervo, creepy-looking dude, is making him a little bit nervous, and they need to step out and, handle that.
They need a break.
Things we didn't get to in hashtag form with Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
Hashtag GNR. Hashtag new album. Would you be excited to hear a new project from Guns N' Roses?
Yeah.
New music?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what rock band has really put out something great in the last...
If it sounds exactly
5
like
years.
Use Your Illusion 2. I was a bigger fan of 2 than 1, but it's just me.
Guitarist Richard Fortus, he hasn't been with the band forever, but he's been with them for a little bit. He says the attitudes are high. Everybody's really excited about getting in the studio. I guess they did some stuff with Slash and Duff McKagan, but they've got a bunch of recorded stuff. It would be funny. They would love to see how that would translate into a new album. Plus, get in the studio and record some new stuff. He says that he feels like the band is the best version that they've been since they've joined, and
well, there they
I
go.
think everybody would agree that seems to be the way it's going until Axl blows up and freaks out.
Didn't he say in November Rain, everybody needs a little time apart? Well, there you go. Hashtag November.
What's a decade?
Hashtag decades. Hashtag November Rain.
Right.
Minneapolis man. Hashtag Freaky Fast. Put Jimmy John's delivery motto to the test during a recent evening rush hour. Delivery person for the sandwich chain brought dinner to a driver whose truck was stalled and blocking a lane of the interstate. He was very hungry. He was stuck. He couldn't go anywhere. State Patrol pulls up and they start, figuring out what to do with the stalled truck at about 5:18 in the afternoon on the Minneapolis interstate. They helped move the car to a nearby parking lot. The driver ended up having a suspended license, as is the case with people whose cars are usually... Like, I could never be a police officer. Have you ever vehically profiled someone?
What, just by following them?
You know, the term racially profiling exists?
Well, sure.
Especially in law enforcement.
Vehicle
and the
profiling?
headlines. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sure. All the time.
I would vehicle profile everyone. Like, I don't know how many times I drive by a car and I'm looking at the car and I'm like, yep, they are definitely meth heads. I would pull them over.
No insurance.
Just for being meth heads.
No insurance. Probably going to find a meth pipe.
Like, I was stuck in a traffic jam in Sacramento over my vacation. And these people had Montana plates. They had like wire that was holding the bumper on. They had the windows down because the air conditioning was not working. It was 103 degrees outside.
Wow.
And they're just sweating and there's like trash all over the all over the dashboard. I'm like, how's a cop not pulling these people over?
There's something good in there.
Yeah.
There's definitely a ticket somewhere.
There's a suspended license, probably an outstanding warrant right there waiting for you. How is a cop not pulling these people over? Anyways, the driver had a suspended license and was about to be handed a ticket, and then Jimmy John shows up, and the patrol officer...
What an idiot. Draw more attention to yourself by having dinner delivered to your... you have a suspended license.
While you're getting a citation.
Right.
And the patrol officer's like, can I help you? He's like, yeah, I was told to deliver some sandwiches to this address right here. The trooper ended up writing in his report, driver for Jimmy John said someone from this address ordered Jimmy John's. The man stuck his head out the window of his truck and said, oh, yeah, that's for me, man. Go ahead, bring it over here.
Well, hell, you're not going anywhere. You're disabled.
So the trooper said in his report, he goes, I guess Jimmy John's really does deliver anywhere and fast, which is like the best advertisement for Jimmy John's.
Right? I don't even know what Jimmy John's is.
It's a sandwich
But I'm
chain,
interested.
much like Subway, except for they specialize in fast delivery of the sandwiches.
Hashtag he will return for the second time to play James Bond. It is official that Daniel Craig will be in the movie coming up in theaters November 8th. I remember there was an interview that he did, I forget with one of the magazines. He said he would, because they asked him back in the day before he did his first one if he would ever want to play James Bond, and his quote was something like he would rather kill himself or slash his wrists or something like that. But I guess money talks.
Absolutely. If not Daniel Craig, if he said no, who would have been a good James Bond?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't watch that many movies anymore. But there is a British guy that was up for it that I thought would have been awesome. But he was black, and people had a hard time seeing a black.
Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a short stint on The Office.
Yes. He was the boss. Yeah.
And I'm sure there's more credible movies I could reference.
No, but yeah, he was awesome as the boss on The Office. And he's the one that caused Michael Scott to form the Michael Scott Paper Company. And I forget his name on The Office. But yes, that's who I have in my mind as would be the best James Bond.
His name came up because he's English or British or whatever he is.
Oh yeah, he would be the best James Bond.
When he speaks normally, he's got the accent. So
why do people have a problem with him being black?
I don't know. I just remember that there was that was part of the controversy at the time, and I'm like, God, it's 2016. I think we could. It doesn't really matter.
It's actually 2017 now.
Or it's 2017. Yeah. It was 2016. But it was 2016 when that happened.
Check the calendar.
Yeah, okay.
Bernie Sanders is being accused of stealing his neighbor's newspaper.
That's awesome.
He's all about redistributing wealth, even if it comes to the getting information.
Right. He's going to give it back to him because in Bernie's world, everybody shares everything. Everything is everyone's. And so you can go get your neighbor's paper, even though you're not paying for it. You'll give it back to them, and they will be able to read it later. Am I far off on that?
Yeah, you are. You should never steal your neighbor's newspaper.
He's not. He's borrowing it, Jeff, because in his world, everybody is treated the same. Everything that is yours is mine, and we all share.
Chris Plant, I guess, is a political talk show host, and he says, quote, Bernie Sanders and his wife, when they are in Washington, D.C., live in this house on Capitol Hill, okay? Part of their vast real estate empire. They're like wannabe Trumps with all their real estate holdings. The next door neighbor, their neighbor on Capitol Hill, called the Washington Post and told the Washington Post that they were canceling their Washington Post subscription because they never get the Sunday Post, okay? It was not there this week, last week, the week before. Then it was there 1 week, but the week before that, it wasn't delivered. So I'm canceling my subscription to the Post because your delivery person never gets it to me. I'm paying for it, but it never gets to me. The Washington Post then responds back to this guy and says, please do not cancel your subscription to the Washington Post. We will investigate with the delivery person and we will get back to you. The Post did investigate and claimed that the delivery person said that the man came out and grabbed the paper every Sunday morning almost immediately upon delivery. That man being the neighbor, Bernie Sanders. He says, they asked, they said, what do you look like? And the guy that was canceling his subscription, he says, they said, you're an older man with gray hair, balding, and little round glasses, right? And they said, no, I'm 50. I've got a full head of dark hair, but my neighbor is Bernie Sanders, and matches that description.
Yeah, that's exactly who it looks like. Wait, you're telling me the newspaper kid who delivers newspapers, this guy is in the newspaper
I don't know if it's a kid
all
anymore.
the time, or whatever, a guy, a woman, whoever it is, a grown-ass adult, can't look at Bernie Sanders and figure out that, oh my God, wait, I've seen this person before. Where is it? Oh, it's in the paper I deliver every day.
I'll tell you why, okay? Because he, like I, works directly in the media, and I've decided to just not pay attention to all of it.
I see. I think that's a pretty lame cop.
93.3 KZOZ. It's time to play Know the Show with Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
Wait, today would be the day to go to Morro Bay. Take that $25 gift card. Maybe have some lunch and some beverages out there on the deck overlooking the marina.
Today, tomorrow, or the next day, really, because the high pressure is going to
kick all that marine layer out.
Yeah.
Nice day to kick it out.
Today's the start of it.
$25 gift card to go to the Auto Rock Cafe on the Embarcadero in Morro Bay if you know the show today.
What two hotel chains are simply not good enough for Jeremy? What two hotel chains are simply just not good enough for Jeremy?
Is that the words I used? I don't think I said that.
You said, I believe you said, we obviously
stay in different places.
Different hotels than I do. I mentioned these two hotel chains, and Jeremy's like, well, you obviously are staying at different places.
I'm not saying I've never stayed at these hotel chains, but now that I'm older, I don't usually stay at them anymore. Do you know what they are?
Travelocity and Expedia.
No, those aren't hotel chains.
Jeremy, stick the pound and a hammer, okay?
No. Let's go Sheraton and
Sheraton?
Marriott.
Hell no. And Marriott? No. No, those are both very nice hotel chains. I would definitely stay at either one of those. Goodbye. Stick to the hammer. 543-3693. You know, all that hammering is probably hurting his ears, and that's why he missed that altogether.
This is exactly how you said it, okay? They dug this up for me.
All right.
Okay.
You and I stay at different places.
You and I stay at different.
Why is that so hard to understand?
That's not condescending at all, right?
Wait, you and I stay at different places. Well, we do.
If I added a little bit more to it, then you would not be able to. It would give away the answer.
You and I stay at different places.
Of course.
What were the two places that Jeff mentioned right before I said that? Hold on. Thanks. Thanks for hanging on. Go ahead.
Okay, so the two hotels, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Were they homestead and budget?
No. That's where the homeless guy stays.
We were talking about those hotels.
Yeah, we were, but that's not what we're looking for.
That's what led to a lengthy discussion about hotels.
And then Jeff went into earlier where he likes to stay when he's on the road.
Jeremy belittling my hotel choice.
You and I stay at different places. Stop it. I wouldn't say that's belittling. I'm just saying I appreciate other things.
I didn't buy a hotel room for a week for $10,000 a year.
Oh, stop. Hi, go ahead. You and I stay at different places.
Yeah, I would say knowing Jeremy would be Motel 6 and the...
Come on! You got one of them.
You did get one of them right.
Motel 6 and...
All right, we need an answer.
Johnson?
What was the other one?
Howard Johnson?
No.
I've never I stay at different places. I've never stayed at a Howard Johnson. You and I stay at different places. Hi, good morning. What's your name?
Chris.
Go ahead, Chris. What's the other one?
Holiday Express or Holiday Inn?
Yeah, that's
right. That's it right there.
You
and I stay at different places.
Holiday Inn.
When Jeff's on the road, it's all about Motel 6 and Holiday. Now, listen, when we were younger, that
would constitute you and I. Two different websites.
You and I stay at different places.
Well, I'm just saying those are national chains that everybody would know of.
Okay, but sure. When's the last time you stayed at a Motel 6?
It's been a long time.
Okay.
I'm not saying I stayed
There's
at a Motel 6.
There's nothing wrong with a Motel 6 if you need a place to crash.
I do stay at a Holiday Inn Express, though.
I've stayed at Holiday Inn Expresses.
Love them.
They're okay.
Dude,
you know the one that was the best and they're gone? No. It's a Northwest chain that would creep into California was the Shiloh Inn.
They're still around.
Are the Shilohs around?
They're still.
You'd have a little sitting area. They were the first ones.
There's one in Bend, Oregon.
To put the little fridge and the microwave in the room.
It's right on the river. The one in Bend, Oregon is the best kept secret in Bend, Oregon.
I think that's where they originated, right? It's an Oregon.
It is an Oregon chain. There's one in Klamath Falls still because I drive by it every time
I've stayed at the one in Klamath Falls.
Venture up there into the Pacific Northwest.
That's a nice one.
Shiloh Inn's not bad. The best Holiday Inn Express was, because it's no longer Holiday Inn Express, but the one in Santa Nella. I'm not kidding.
Where?
It's Santa Nella.
I don't even know where that is. Is that off I-5?
Yeah, it's
one of these towns I've passed 100 times.
Santa Nella is gross, right? It's a truck stop town. It's disgusting. But the way that they designed the old, I forget, it's like a Comfort Inn now or something. They, for whatever reason, Holiday Inn revoked its name from the hotel. But they've got this like courtyard area that's like you're at like a resort with this awesome pool, and they've designed it to where like the hotel's like the Pentagon, so nobody could come into this area unless you're staying at the hotel.
It's like when you go to Mexico and you enter the hotel zone.
Yeah.
And they have the big gates to keep all the locals out.
I mean, we ended up having to stay there because it was late one night and it was like one of these weird monsoon nights where it was really humid in the valley. And this place, I was like, wow, I could come back and stay at this place again just for the outdoor barbecue in the pool. Get some drinks, go over the AM, PM, or the Pilot because it is a truck stop town. Go over to the Pilot, grab a sixer, 805, head back over to the Santa Nella Holiday Inn. That's how you properly chill, my friend.
Yeah, and they're a little. And what do you do with the? Where do you drink the beer at? In the room?
If you ask me the question, how do you properly chill? I say I go to the Pilot, I buy a sixer of 805, and I head back to the Holiday or Comfort Inn, what it was used to be the Holiday Inn Express in Santa Nella, and I hang out by their pool.
Hey, buddy, congratulations. We're going to hook you up with a $25 gift card to go to the Auto Rock Cafe, okay?
All right, great. Thank you.
God, I wish I had a Verizon or AT&T card for you. That phone sounds terrible. Hold on the line. We'll get you in there. Tomorrow, another opportunity at 8:05.
See, you're just knocking people left and right.
Well, that phone was terrible.
You're knocking his Metro PCS. You're knocking my Motel 6 and my Holiday Inn Expresses. By the way, where do you stay? What is your trusted chain?
Well, Marriott probably.
It is Marriott?
Yeah. Which that's nothing
Can't go
too
wrong.
fancy.
Can't go wrong.
Seriously, though. Ow. Jeff and Jeremy in the morning. 93.3 KZOZ rocks.